Good evening, everyone out there. My name is Felicia, and my surname is Purabatu. I just want to welcome everyone who joined me. To those who join us for the first time, I just want to welcome them and say, continue to support me. And those who've been following me, I just want to thank you for your support. Today, as I've indicated previously when we were talking about grief, to say we're still going to continue to talk more about this grief that we all don't understand. We just find ourselves there. Today, I'm going to talk about the stages of griefs, which are 5, but we'll focus only on 2, and the remaining one, we'll talk about them as time goes by. Previously, I indicated to say it's not easy to go through grief. I'm still saying that it's not easy. And there is something that I just want to say. Grief is not by choice. You just find yourself there. And grief can be through divorce. Grief can be maybe you've lost something that you were attached to. And that will lead into you going through the grief stages. So for me, I lost my husband 2019. It's now 3 years. I was not aware that I'm grieving. I realized when I was already in healing stage. That's where I then realized to say, it was happening. So after realizing that I've lost my husband, it was brought to my attention, I found myself in a denial stage. I couldn't come in time with my loss. My mind automatically just locked. I couldn't believe that he's gone. I couldn't accept that he's gone. I felt this sense of, no, he can't. And for me, my husband was someone who was very strong. So when I was told that he's late, it was not an easy thing for me to just make peace with it. I was in denial. I used to look around, hoping that I would see him. I used to pray to say, God, if only I can, if he can appear, if he can just be, if he can just appear, even if it's if I can just see him, because I didn't believe that he's gone. It was like people are lying to me. I was in this stage of denial, and that stage changed my life. I didn't choose for it, but automatically it just happened. Grief will change your life. I found myself losing touch with myself. I was unable to talk. People were saying things around me. I couldn't respond. I used to just look at them, hoping that I would see my Donald, hoping that I would see him coming through the door, hoping that I would see him sitting next to me, only to realize that I'm just, I'm hoping for something that will never happen. I found myself, my family was there, my sisters, my sister-in-law, my brothers were there. They were trying by all means to be there for me. to make me realize that this has happened. And, them being there, trying to get me to a stage where I could start planning planning for the funeral. It was difficult for me to listen to someone when he tells me, you know what, today we need to go to Home Affairs for death certificate. Today we need to do 1, 2, 3. It was like, this person, is he for real? For me, it didn't click. My mind just logged completely. I cry when they were talking, when they talk like that. I cry. I used to cry to say, how can they talk about my husband as something in the past? How can you talk about my husband as a body? Even thou, deep down behind my back, behind my memory, there was something that was telling me that yes, he's gone, but I couldn't accept it. I couldn't make peace with it. People were there telling me that, Felicia, you are a very strong woman. You will pull out of this. In times you will heal. And to be honest with you, you don't heal in time. You just learn to live with it. You find a place in your heart. You don't heal. I don't know how to put it, but it's just something that is there that people will tell you that you are expected to do, to say you will heal in time. You are a strong woman. You can face this. Yes, I might be a strong woman, but losing a partner was never in my mind. I never thought it will be him, you see. So maybe that's why it was so difficult for me to make peace with it. That's why maybe my mind just logged. And I don't know. I then find myself facing a stage whereby I must plan for the funeral. I had to sit with my kids, and then we had to plan what is it that we need to do, all those things. We had to go through everything to say this and this and this needs to happen, you see. And to indicate that at the back of my heart, at the back of my memory, something knew that I've lost a husband. There was something that was registering to say, yes, indeed, this is happening. Just that at the same time, my mind locks, couldn't accept it. So what I'm trying to say is, for me, I found myself going 2 stages at a time. It was the stage of denial and the stage of acceptance. And you might ask yourself why. It is normal. Sometimes it does happen like that. You find yourself going through the 2 stages at a time. So I had that stage of accepting. At the same time, I'm in denial. So why am I saying there was an acceptance? Because I was able to stand up and plan everything. I was able to stand up and say, I'm going to give my husband a dignified funeral. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. You see, I was able to go through all those things. Come the Memorial Day, I prepared myself with my kids. We were there. And then it was difficult, yes. I feel like I can wake him up, but I couldn't. Then following day, it was a funeral day. Everything goes according to, the ceremony, everything just, I don't regret anything about the whatever that went through that day. The plan went accordingly. And when all was done, on my way back home, I don't know what happened, but my mind just switched within a second from denial to anger. I found myself angry. I found myself angry, not knowing what was happening. I was angry with, I was looking for something to blame. And the only thing that I can blame, it was myself. I had this many questions, many ifs that I was asking myself. I found myself asking questions that, I don't know. I said, what if? You see, if only I was there with him when he took his last breath. If only I was there, as his support, if only I was there in that hospital to say goodbye to him. So I blame myself. I ask myself whether is there something that I've done wrong? Maybe I've let my family down. Maybe I've let him down. So I was blaming myself. At the same time, I blamed him for giving up on us as a family. I asked myself, why did you give up on us so easily? Why didn't you fight for your family? Why didn't you fight for your daughters? Why didn't you fight for your son? You are leaving me behind with a boy child. How am I gonna, all those questions. I blamed him. There was a time whereby I said, you should have fought for Hurisan. You should have fought for your son. You see, and while I was saying those things, not to say I don't believe in God, I know that there was nothing I could have done. As a human being, you can't stop the will of God. When God chose, no one can say no. When God says now is the time, no one can prevent the will of God. So, but because I was angry, I was looking for something to blame, I found myself asking those questions to say, why did this happen? Why? And when I look back, I now realize that I was just looking for something to blame. And as times goes by, I realize that I'm afraid of everything. I was afraid to even step out of my house. There was this fear that I don't even know where it was coming from. Everything that comes across me, I feel like, there was this fear because now I was alone. I was afraid to face the world alone. I was afraid to lead my family. I was afraid to take decisions. You see, I lost belief in me. So when times goes on, I know I had to find myself, as difficult as it is, but it was not easy. It was not easy. I remember a brother of mine, Pastor Mohoba, once talked to me to say, Felicia, this has happened, and where you are like someone who just lost one leg. Someone who's supposed to learn how to walk. Someone who's supposed to learn to do things differently. When he was talking to me, I didn't understand what he was telling me. It was just him talking. But when times goes on, I realized that he was right. I need to learn to do things differently. I need to learn to talk. I need to learn to address my kids alone without their father. So as difficult as it is, sitting in front of my kids, telling them that everything's going to be okay without their father, it was a mountain to climb for me. Telling them that now that daddy is no more, we need to do things this way. it was a mountain to climb. You know, those kids were so young by that time. You know, it was like forcing them, you know, to accept that something that is, you know, I don't know. But I understood what Pastor Mova was trying to tell me, to say you need to start to learn to do things differently. And I thank God in everything, because in everything that was happening, I see only the grace of the Lord. Sometimes you know, I used to drive to work, come back home, and when you ask me how was your day, what was happening, I couldn't even tell you what was happening. I was just there, my body was there, but you know, so it was not an easy thing going through anger. I found myself just being angry for no reason. You see, my sleeping, my pattern in doing things, my lifestyle, the way, you know, I eat, you know, everything about me just changed. I couldn't sleep properly. I couldn't eat properly. You know, I found myself crying, not knowing why I'm crying. So it was like something was ripped off me. It was like, you know, I felt that loneliness, that sense of belonging. It was like it has been taken away from me. That shield that was forever with me, I felt like it has been ripped off, it has been taken away from me. So it was so difficult. It was so difficult for me. It was so difficult. I don't want to lie. It was so difficult. Facing the world alone, you know, not knowing what to do. You know what to do, but you are just scared of the world out there. You are just scared of your colleagues, people that you used to socialize with. You find yourself being afraid of them. People that you used to live with, you find yourself being scared of them. So that's why I keep on saying grief, it's not an easy journey. You become angry with people around you for no reason, unaware that this is happening. You see, that's where I feel it's very, very important to have someone next to you, to have a sister, to have a brother, to have a mother, to have someone who can be there for you when you go through these stages. You need Ruth in your life. You need people who will believe in you. People will just be there next to you, listen to you without just sitting there listening to you without judging you. You need such people in your life when you go through grief. You see, you don't, you know, that's where I realized that I don't need someone who will be telling me that I'm strong, because person, that person is forcing me to fake a smile. That person is forcing me, you know, I don't want such people in times of grief. One doesn't want someone who will be telling you that you are a strong person. Yes, I know I might be a strong person, but that moment, I need someone who can just say, sister, I'm here for you. I need Ruth, someone who will just stand by me and say, your sorrow will be my sorrow, without judging me. Someone who will be just there and say, your pain will be my pain. Someone who will just be there and say, your people will be my people, without judging me. You see, so as I've indicated, you don't choose to go through grief. And those stages when they come, you don't choose which one to start with. There's no formula. You find yourself starting from anger. You find yourself starting from depression. People differ. Sometimes you find yourself blaming someone next to you because you are looking for something to blame at that moment. It's not an easy journey, but through all my pain, I saw only grace of the Lord. Through it all, I thank God because I realized that He was with me all the way. I realized that He was leading my way. Even though I couldn't see the light, He was the light. I now realize where I am to say, He was there with me. Through it all, He was there with me. And He's still here with me. That's why I just want to say to someone out there who's going through the pain. It can be a pain of divorce. It can be a pain of losing someone that you love through death. It can be whatever grief that you are going through. Just want to pray to my Lord to say, dear Lord, reach out to that heart that is bleeding. Reach out to that soul that is seeking direction. Reach out and mend the heart that is broken. Stop that bleeding, because we are bleeding. We are bleeding. We need each other. We are bleeding. We need God. We need God. We need God's guidance through it all. I know we're still going to continue with this. I just want to thank God for everything till we talk again. I just want to say to viewers all over, continue to support me. Continue to subscribe. Thank you.